So last year I had a 20 books to read in 2020 challenge that was centered around continuing in series that I'd already started, and I'm happy to say that I was very successful. I surpassed my expectations in that goal, so I'm going to be doing something similar for 2021 as well. But before we get into 2021, I thought I would just give a final update on my 2020 goals and show you exactly which books that I read and which ones I surpassed what I was planning to read. So the way I set up my challenge in 2020 was I chose 20 books from 9 different series that I was planning to read in the year. So I had a specific number of books that I wanted to read from each series depending on where I was in the series and how long the series was, which is where I was able to kind of surpass what I was planning, because there were some series that I read a little bit more than I was planning because they are a longer series and I was in the mood for them. So I'm just going to quickly run through all of those series right now. The first one was the Discworld series by Pratchett. I planned to read 7 books from the series and I actually ended up reading 8. I finished off the Winternight Trilogy by Katherine Arden. I only had the final book left to read, so I read that final book. Then I had the Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan. I planned to read 2 books from the series and I read 2 books. For the Earthsea cycle by Ursula Guin, I was planning to just read 1 book and I ended up reading 4. I finished the Queens of Renthia series by Beth Durst. I only had the final book to read, so I read that final book. I caught up in the Wayfarers series by Becky. I had 2 books to read and I read those 2 books. I caught up in the Tensorate series by J. Yang. I was planning to read 3 books and I read those 3 books. For the Poppy War series by R.F. Kuang, I was planning to read 1 book and I read that 1 book. And finally, I finished the Witch Boy series. I was planning to read 2 books and I read those 2 books. I'm honestly really proud of myself. This is the first time I've ever set reading goals for the year, so finding out that I can actually do really well on them has been very encouraging. I think I just do really well when I have a specific list of books that I want to get to. This happens a lot when I plan readathons as well. As soon as I have a specific list that I am trying to accomplish in a certain time period, I really do it. So to keep up that momentum, I'm also going to be doing a 21 books to read in 2021. It is also going to be about series, but it's going to be slightly different from last year. This year, I'm planning to choose 21 different series that I want to read at least 1 book from. This way, I have a little bit more flexibility if I want to continue series or if I want to DNF series as well. I also love starting series, so this one gives me a little bit more flexibility when I want to do that as well. I have 21 series here. Most of them I am currently in the middle of. I also have some series that I am planning to reread this year and also some series that I'm planning to start. My main priorities are finishing the series that I'm currently in the middle of and also reading the books that I currently own either physically or on ebook. So a lot of the series that I haven't started yet are ones that I own myself, and that's why I want to get into them, because I have them. I should really read them. So while I don't want to be starting too many series that it gets a little bit overwhelming how many I'm in the middle of, I think I have a little bit of wiggle room just considering how well I do when I put things in a list. So hopefully I don't jinx myself and hopefully I can keep reading the series to their completion, but we will find out. I am constantly experimenting and I'm really curious how this will go. So for the 21 series that I'm planning to read in 2021, I've sort of organized this list into whether I'm continuing the series or starting it fresh, and if the series has been completed or if there's going to be a new book out before the end of 2021. And then there's also a few series that I am planning to reread next year, so those are also in my sort of continued section before we get into the new series that I'm planning to start in 2021. So first we have the Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan. I am on The Shadow Rising, which is the 4th book in the series, and this is a classic staple of the fantasy genre. Next we have the Discworld by Pratchett. I am currently on this book, which is Interesting Times, the 17th book in this absurdist fantasy series. I'm going to finish the Poppy War trilogy by R.F. Kuang with the final book, The Burning God, and this is a Chinese-inspired military fantasy. I'm also going to finish the Earthsea cycle by Ursula Guin with the 6th and last book, The Other Wind, and this is another classic fantasy staple. I'm also reading the Inheritance trilogy by N.K. Jemisin. I'm currently on the 2nd book, The Broken Kingdoms, and this is a political fantasy involving gods. Next is the Fortress series by C.J. Cherryh. I'm currently on this book, which is the 2nd book, Fortress of Eagles, and this is a fantasy that is very classic and involves a lot of dark magic and centuries-long rivalries. I'm also reading Fablehaven by Mull. I am on the 2nd book, Rise of the Evening Star, and this is a middle grade portal fantasy. Another middle grade, we have the Jumbies series by Tracey Baptiste. I am on the second book, which is The Rise of the Jumbies, and this is a Caribbean folklore-inspired adventure story. Moving into romance now, I'm currently reading the Brown Sisters series by Talia Hibbert. I am on the second book, Take a Hint, Danny Brown, and these are contemporary romances with cinnamon roll heroes. Next, I have the London Trilogy by Cherryh Thomas. I am on the second book in the series, Private Arrangements, and this is a Regency-era historical romance. Then we have the Fitzhugh Trilogy, also by Cherryh Thomas, also a historical romance set in Regency era. I'm currently on the first book, which is Beguiling the Beauty, and the reason that this is in the continuation section is because I read the prequel novella, so I have started the series, even though I haven't yet read the first official book. And now moving into the couple series that I'm reading that have new books releasing between now and the end of 2021, we have the Wayfarers series by Becky Chambers. The fourth book is coming out in February, I believe. It's called The Galaxy and the Ground Within, and this is a slow-moving, character-focused space opera. I'll also be reading the next new book in the Singing Hills cycle by Nghi, and that's When the Tiger Came Down the Mountain, and these are Asian-inspired fantasy novellas. Moving into the series I'm planning to reread in 2021, the first one I have is The Magic Kingdom of Landover by Terry Brooks. This is the first book in the series, which is Magic Kingdom for Sale / Sold, and I probably read this in 4th or 5th grade. It's the first fantasy series I ever read, so I'm really curious to see what I think about it now because I remember nothing. I'm also planning to reread the Percy Jackson series by Rick Riordan, the first one being The Lightning Thief, and this is a middle grade series about the descendants of Greek gods. And the final series I'm planning to reread is the Emily Winsnap series by Liz Kessler. The first one is The Tale of Emily Winsnap, and this is a YA story about mermaids. And finally, moving into the series that I'm planning to start in 2021, the first one I have is the Realm of the Elderling series by Robin Hobb, more specifically the Farseer trilogy. The first book is The Assassin's Apprentice, and I have been dying to read this. This is a character-focused, slow-moving fantasy story with apparently amazing writing, and I'm very excited for it. I also have the Nevernight trilogy by Jay Kristoff, the first one being Nevernight, and this is an assassin revenge story. I am cautious about this one. I don't know how I will get along with the writing, but a lot of people really love it. A lot of people also really hate it, so we'll see where I fall. I'm also planning to read the Spellbreaker duology by Charlie N. Holmberg. I have the first book, Spellbreaker, as an ebook, and this is a YA historical fantasy. Next up, I have the Seven Waters series by Juliette Marillier. The first book is Daughter of the Forest, and this is a fairy tale retelling with a lot of naturey vibes. And finally, the last series I have on this list is the Greenbone Saga by Fonda Lee, the first one being Jade City, and this is an Asian mafia story that everyone has been hyping up, so I'm very excited to start it. So that's my list of 21 series that I'm going to try and read at least one book from in 2021. We'll see if I surpass my expectations again and read on in the series, or if I end up DNFing them, which is also a possibility. But just having a list makes me really inspired and motivated to read. I don't normally make TBRs, but when I do, they tend to be pretty successful. Are you also that way, or are you more of a mood reader? I kind of fluctuate in between the two. But I would be very curious to hear what your reading goals for 2021 are, and if you're reading any of these series, please talk to me about it. Maybe we can buddy read some books together. I would love that. I hope you're having a fantastic new year and that 2021 will be 1,000 times better than 2020. But that's it for now, so I will see you later. Bye.